Hi guys, I'm Kate from Kate's Creations. Welcome to part 2 of the salt dough ornaments tutorial. So in the last video we made the salt dough ornaments themselves, and in this video we're going to be painting them. So I'll take you through what you need for this video. You will need 2 plastic cups or receptacles for holding water and rinsing your paintbrushes. You'll need paint. Now I've got a few different colours here. I'm going to paint 4 different ornaments today, so I've got a little selection of paints. These are just, cheap dollar store paints. You don't need to use anything too fancy for this. You'll need ribbon to tie the ribbons through at the end. I'm just using this really thin, it's like 2 or 3 millimeter ribbon in black. You can use whatever colour you'd like. And you'll need a couple of different paintbrushes. I've got 3 with me today. Now this is, actually you'll also need your little paint palette too. Now this is optional. This is called a pipette. I use this to draw water up when I'm mixing or thinning down my paints. You don't need to use one of these of course, but I find it really handy, and I have quite a few on hand. So let's get started. So I might start with the, which one do you think we should start with? So we've got these 4 here. Our gingerbread man, our tree, our little snowman, and our Christmas bauble. I might start with the tree. Let's go with that. Alright, so first thing you want to do with your tree, when you get them out of the oven, there will be, and once they've cooled of course, there's just a little bit of flour excess on there. So what I do is just grab a dry paintbrush and literally just brush the excess flour off. You don't have to get it all off, you just don't want that flour, on your ornament when you are painting it. Okay, now if you're really dedicated, you can sand the sharp edges of your salt dough ornament. Obviously there's no real need to do this unless you're strange and obsessive about craft and decorating like I am. But you can sand those off just with a really fine paper. Once again, just brush off any flour excess. Done. Now we'll get our little paint palette here and get some green paint, and really simple, all you're doing is sloshing the paint on. So I'm going to wet my paintbrush down. Where'd my paintbrush go? Where's this one? This is my favourite paintbrush. Oh, you'll also need, which I forgot to mention, a piece of paper towel. So I usually rip off just a couple of sheets, fold them over like so, and have that just to the side of my workspace, so I can just dab off the excess water. So you want your paintbrush to be damp but not super wet. So then you literally just start painting, sloshing it on. We're just going to set him aside, and we'll paint okay, so now I'm going to show you how to paint some detail in these, and bring out some of the that recessed detail in the ornaments here. So we're going to do that by doing a black paint wash. So I'll show you what we do there. So I mean, pretty much from here, again, if you're doing this with kids, you can just decorate with paint however you want, and paint straight on them. But with these, because they've got little indents, I'm just going to show you a little trick on how to actually bring that detail out. So what we're going to do is make a wash with black paint. So I tend to use maybe half and half. So 1 part paint, 1 part water. Let's start with that and put that in our little disposable cup here, and I'm just going to mix that around. Now it's going to be pretty runny, but you want that because you basically want the paint to settle in the cracks and crevices and not on top. So I'll show you what we do there. So that's pretty good. You want it pretty runny, so I'll just add a little bit more water to that. Yeah, that's good. All right, so once again, we've got our paper towel over here. We'll need more paper towels. I'm just going to run off another 2 squares. I'm just going to fold that out of the way. Just going to fold that in 2 squares like that. All right, now what we're going to do is take, yeah, we'll start with a tree. So we're going to take our wash and we're just going to slap that all over the tree. Just paint it all over, get that right in those little nooks and crannies there. Just like that. Absolutely cover it. Right, now what we do is just blot it with the paper towel. Literally just blot it. Blot, 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 blot. And turn it over a bit to let some of that paint run out. And there you go. You've got some little black detail that's actually highlighted all those little crevices in the paint. Now I'm going to do that for, I might do that for all of them actually. There are 4 little ornaments with the little black detail. Now once those have dried, I'll show you how we can add even more detail to these with another really simple trick. Back, these are now dry, so with the wash you're probably looking at an hour or so for them to dry fully before the next step. Or you can speed the process up with a hairdryer on a low setting. If you do that, it takes about 5 or so minutes with a hairdryer. So what I'm going to show you now is a technique called dry brushing. So we're just going to put a little bit of detail. I'm going to use silver and gold paint. We're just going to decorate these a little bit more to make them sparkle. Now, dry brushing is a technique that, funnily enough, uses a dry brush. That's why it's called dry brushing. It also uses quite a stiff bristled brush as well. So the brushes I was using before for the main part of painting are quite soft. You can probably see, I don't know if it's going to show you there. You can see that's sort of quite a soft bristled brush, whereas this one here is quite a stiff or a harder bristle. You're going to have your piece of paper towel handy. Now I might do, what colour should we do? Might do the tree and the snowman in silver, and I'll do the gingerbread man and the bauble in gold. Alright, so all you do with dry brushing is, your brush is dry, so do not wet this one first. So you dip it, just the tip, into your paint. You don't want a lot of paint on this. And then I sort of stipple it onto the edge of my palette and also wipe the excess off on the paper towel a little bit. So you really only want the teeniest, tiniest bit of paint on your brush. You really don't want a lot on there. Let's do a little snowman buddy. So literally with a really light stroke, just sort of start brushing the gold on very, very lightly. Again, you don't want a lot. This is basically just to highlight a little bit of the snowman there, just so when he sits on it, the light catches him, he'll sparkle a little bit. You can do as much or as little of this as you like. I tend to like a more subtle look, so I don't tend to put too much on. So I'm just gonna pop him on there. Around there. Alright, and that is pretty much it. So the dry brushing, that paint will dry really quickly. Like, okay, that gingerbread man that we did, he's already dry. So then all you do is take your thread. I probably take about, I'd say 15 centimeters or so. Paint out of the way, 15 centimeters or so. Cut it off. Let's do the snowman because he's dry. And then there you have a beautiful little snowman ornament. So that just about concludes the tutorial for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below and I will respond. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.